few days ago, here was a woman at a rally for John McCain incorrectly calling Obama an Arab.
I can't trust Obama. I have read about him, and he's an Arab. He is not. No.
No, ma'am. He's a decent family man, citizen that I just happen to have disagreements with on fundamental issues, and that's what this campaign is all about. He's not. Thank you.
When did Arab and Muslim become dirty words, the equivalent of dishonorable or radical? Whenever this gets raised, the implication is that there is something wrong with being an Arab American or a Muslim. And the media is complicit here, too. We've all been way too quick to accept the idea that calling someone Muslim is a slur. I feel like I'm stating the obvious here, but apparently it needs to be said. There is a difference between radical Muslims who support jihad against America and Muslims who want to practice their religion freely and have normal lives like everybody else. There are more than 1.2 million Arab Americans and about 7 million Muslim Americans, former cabinet secretaries, members of Congress, successful business people, normal average Americans from all walks of life. These are the people that are being maligned here every time this happens. And we can only imagine how this conversation plays out in the Muslim world. We can't tolerate this ignorance, not in the media, not on the campaign trail.
Address this critical issue because he is really, to my knowledge, one of the very few people. His legacy, his influence. We just have to, normalize this crazy situation. There's a whole expensive efforts to sell that Islam and Muslims are inherently, innately different from the rest of the world. They are somewhat aliens from Mars or Venus. The most important thing is you have to realize we're talking about human beings. We're talking about 1.3 billion people living on the face of Earth, have similar human concerns, have family, have life. If you don't come from that perspective, if you think this is completely alien, strange concept, you won't be able to see anything meaningful. You will have to realize that this is a human experience, as Christianity is, as Judaism is, as Hinduism and Buddhism is.
So is that one of your goals for the Duke community overall?
Yes, that's really one of my self-claimed mission, to raise the level of awareness, education, respect for Islam and Muslims. This is the responsibility. Even I have no choice. Even my daughter, at the age of 7, she doesn't have a choice. At the age of 7, she has to play the role of an ambassador to a whole world of Islam and Muslims, and try to explain her classmates that her parents are not terrorists. Her mother is, just because she looks different doesn't mean she's going to blow up the buildings or something like that. She's been picked up in the school many times saying, your mother's a terrorist, she's going to blow up the buildings. Can you imagine the level of poisoning? We're not talking about like adults, we're talking about 6, 7 years old kids. Based on what they hear from their parents and from the media about Islam and Muslims, they come back to school and say, your mother is a terrorist, and she's going to blow up buildings and things like that. It is not even a choice for Muslims. It is not fun to be a Muslim these days.
You talked about your daughter getting racially profiled. Have you ever been racially profiled yourself?
Oh, many times. Whenever I go overseas and abroad and come back to JFK, that's pretty much like the practice. Since 9/11, we have been welcomed to the country in a very unique way, if I may call it welcoming. Just because your name is Abdullah and you look like Middle Eastern, you speak with accent, you always end up getting picked up and endless questions all the time. Where have you been? What have you done? And things like that. I can't say, I'm a lot luckier than many Muslim friends that I know of. They've been picked up, they've been asked to leave the bus. Just a couple of days ago, my wife, she goes through a lot because she is more visibly Muslim. She wears the hijab. Just 3 days ago in the South Mall here, a group of young boys sort of came and said, Usama's bitches, go back where you came from. It's just happening here, and I don't blame these boys. I don't blame these people who say these really ignorant, intolerant, hateful stuff. I blame the irresponsible media, irresponsible civic, religious leaders who have been sort of reinserting that hateful message and negative association of Islam and Muslims all the time. I see in some of the public bathrooms what people write about Islam and Muslims. let's nuke them all, and I do this and that to Quran and things like that. Yeah.